Welcome to the Six-Figure Author Experiment, where we help you break through your first or next $100,000 goal. Parental discretion is advised. Now, let's get on with the show.
Hi, Lee. I know we've been talking for
Russell.
15 minutes, but hi.
I know. Hi. It's good to see you. Tell me about what we were talking about.
Oh, yeah. So we were just talking. So what we were talking about is Monica and I just did this virtual conference today is the first day of this virtual conference. Yay. It's probably 10 weeks from now when you listen to this, or I don't know, 50 weeks from now with how fast we're recording things. But I was saying, I've now done 3 other ones besides this one where I was the host it was a struggle to find a few hundred people to get into it. And now that the audience has grown over years and talked about the nightmare of my $30,000 that I lost doing these things, but it did build a pretty big size audience. I moved everything into ConvertKit and it's there's 45,000 people in there now, and it's growing by 100 to 200 people a day. And it's those things get easier. You might not make more. So I just released a book where on Kickstarter, and it hit $5,000. And I'm going to turn around and show you this book.
Congratulations.
You would be
Yay. Congratulations on the conference and your releases and all the things you're doing.
Thank you. So
a lot.
You're going to look at this cover. If you're only listening, you're not going to be able to see it, but you can say how off market and weird this cover is and how it should never have made $1.
Yes. Time is a flat circle. Guys, go look it up.
It's weird. It's a guy's drawing, or a human's drawing, and half of his face is hinged off. And
it looks like it could be the cover of a philosophy textbook. Honestly, I think you have a calling, Russell.
Well, this is my most philosophical, metaphysical book. But this 5 years ago, I could never have made $5,000 on it because I just didn't have the audience to support it. I'll show you another book.
I will say you handed me a great excuse whenever you're like, hey, Lee, are we doing this? You're late. I'll be like, time's a flat circle, Russell.
It's true. I mean, it's true. I mean, yes, I will have to accept it. But so a couple years ago, I did a book that I drew. So I've drawn 2 comics in my life. This is one of them. It's called How Not to Invade Earth.
Love it.
Look at the art style inside of it.
Fantastic.
And it made $3,500, which is more than comics that I've released from professional artists have made, only because I had an audience. They supported me. They liked my work, and they were like, whatever, it's weird, I'm going to trust it. And we've done that. Once I kind of cracked that nut where I was like, oh, I could just make anything and make a profit on it. Not a great profit. I won't say $5,000 is not gonna because I did an audiobook. I did a whole bunch of stuff. So I'm not making $5,000 on this book, and printing and shipping costs money, but I'll make $1,000 or $2,000 on this book, all said and done. And I might never make another dollar on it, but the ability when your audience kind of stabilizes and you can make money, at least break even on any idea you have, I think it's more powerful than if you push and push and push and you can make $20,000 on a book.
Agreed. And we were just talking about, we chose a career where we were like, we could go work at a hedge fund and start at $1 million a year,
Right.
But we didn't choose that. And in fact, I had a background. I thought I wanted to make a lot of money. Let me do finance. And I was in the financial world and it was miserable. And honestly, I think subconsciously I held myself back, because if I had earned a bunch of money in that field, I would have forced myself to continue with that career until I was dead inside. And I already was a little dead inside. When I reversed and was like, I'm going to be an author, and I convinced my husband to support me, I was so happy. I was like, I would be doing this for free. But then I chose to say, well, I'm going to choose to make money at this, though, because it is important to me. Money, to me, I'm very money motivated. And to me, I can take care of myself. I don't have to worry if my car breaks down. I can afford health insurance. I can swipe my debit card at the grocery store and afford whatever I need to feed myself. and I can support my family. My family is very important to me. And a lot of the money we do, my friend was like, you guys have a village, don't you? And it's important to us. We live close to our family. We help them out in a lot of different ways, sometimes just time, sometimes paying their rent. And that is very motivating to me. So I am more money motivated, but I chose to do this art thing. And hearing you talk, I have two theories. They're not mine, but these are two ideas. One is the flywheel from Jim Collins, Good to Great, where he's like, you push this heavy like millstone around once and you work so hard. Like year one, I made a couple grand and I worked really hard, like getting the website up, writing tons of books, signing a publishing contract to kind of see if I could get an audience through the publisher. And I remember releasing a trilogy, my first Mafia trilogy, and made like $50 that month. And I was like, I've arrived, right? That trilogy, I pulled it down because I knew it needed to be fixed. And my friend Stasia Black fixed it and became a co-writer. We completely rebranded it. We made $500,000. And that was with running a lot of ads, but it's nice to be able to spend $100,000 in ads and make 5 times return. Like
right.
Not every book does that. We've talked about that already. Like Mafia Romance, you can do that. It was a healthy investment return. It was smart. And my most successful launch to date. And it's just so interesting, like how hard I worked in the beginning to get things a little bit aligned. And then even as the years went on, not only did my audience grow, but I got more aligned. Like I said, I was able to rebrand and do that. So that's one theory, is like you build this audience. And then, like you said, you can release a philosophical book that's a comic and a book, and it's all the things and it's all the questions you have floating around in your brain, and you can make 5 grand because the flywheel is just up and running, and you're gonna feed those people, and they're there for you. They're gonna buy from you. It's like the 1,000 true fans philosophy. And the other thing I'm thinking, and then I'll stop and let you be like, okay, that sounds good or not, is this is a mindset thing, but there's something they talk about, like you have an internal thermostat where for years I made $30,000 a year and I was just stuck there. And I worked really hard. I changed careers. I did different things. I was really miserable because I was trying to work jobs, but I was stuck at $30,000 a year. And I feel like I was able to clear that out of the way. And that was a money block. And I was able to raise my internal thermostat. And I did some things that I can talk about that I think were helpful to break that. But I think you and I still have that internal thermostat. Yours is just now, I my products will make at least 5,000.
Right.
And there's something about it's the reticular activating system. You go, I'm going to drive to the mall, and you don't think all the little steps you have to take to drive to the mall. You just drive. And the same is, I'm going to make at least $5,000. And you take all these little action steps you don't even know, but you just do it. And I guess they're both the same though, because I'm thinking, I had that Mafia trilogy, and in the beginning, when I wasn't sure how to make money, I released it, and then I was like, no, this should have made more. Right. And I pulled it down, and I sat on it, and I tried to rewrite it, and I couldn't. And then I was like, it doesn't matter. Who do I have to ask for help? And I asked Stasia, and then we figured it out. And I knew that because I just knew that trilogy was supposed to make more money, and it did. And it was just like, I'm supposed to go to the mall. I'm supposed to get this trilogy to make way more money. And it did, but I'll stop.
Well, in fairness, like if you have a Mafia trilogy, it should always make more money. Like whatever the amount of money is, it probably should make more money. Like it's almost like a no cap. Yeah, it's interesting because I was listening to somebody talk the other day, and they were saying a flywheel is like the first year you do a flywheel, you spin it around one time and it takes all your effort. And that second time you get like 2 times around, and then 4 times and 8 times. And I was just saying, like, before we get in, I moved all of my emails to ConvertKit, and I like culled probably like 20,000 of them, and I brought only the best ones in. And like I'm like getting 100 new subscribers a day, every day. If I told myself 5 years ago, like you're going to get $100, you're going to get 100 new subscribers a day, like they'd be like, that's insane. And like, it's even after you lost $30,000, some of you might say, like you're still spending a bunch of money on acquisition. And like, yes, because I know how to monetize them later. this whole experiment that we were talking about was me trying to monetize them while they were coming in, doing what we were talking about like self-liquidating offers and like I know how to acquire and then pay off. And I have a plan to like do that, but like I really feel like I need to get 100 new subscribers a day. And like I have the metrics to do it. And like it's easy for me in a way that I never could have said that before. Like, I know exactly how much I have to spend to get 100 subscribers on Facebook and in all of these other platforms. And like, if I want it, I just have to figure out like what lever to pull. And it's in the same way when you're talking about a launch, it's like, it's hard. But when you look at it, when I look at a sales page, I can just be like, it's not right. It's not like I don't know what it is necessarily. I just am like, you
Mm,
need something. And like
nice.
it's from spending 10 years building sales pages and Kickstarter pages. And I can look at a Kickstarter page and be like, that is wrong. And I know once I've like maneuvered it around and I can look at it and be like, yep, that's the right one. Or like that's the best that it can be, or like it's gonna be what it is at that point. And it's interesting because I talked to my wife who's like learning to do email marketing at her like research director job. And she pulls me over the other day and she's like, I need you to look at these two emails that I sent out. And like this one's way prettier and it had two columns and like two different buttons and like it just and they just like this one did better. And I was like, of course it. And then she's like, what do you think happened? And I was like, that one's prettier. That one did way better. And she's like, that is what happened. And I was like, yeah. And I was like, because it's not clear. Like you don't have one click. It's not one column. It's two columns. It's like all of these things. And like you just know by going through it. And I really love the thing you said about like, who do you have to ask for help? Because I asked the wrong person for help earlier this year. Like I should not have, I'd asked that team was the wrong person to ask for help. But like, I also asked Monica for help. And like, I also ask like other people for help. That's like, been there and you said I need help making this into a comic and like I know that you know Kickstarter and comics and you did a steamy romance one before so like help me make a comic and like it's actually like I don't want to say it's easy to break to the next level because but like kind of if you find the person who's done that thing and you're like hey can you help me and they're like it's 20 grand and you're or 5 grand or 1 grand or like sure I'll consult with you for a few $100. So many people don't do a consult with me and they just keep and I'm like I've made it $150 an hour which is like a third of what it should be and like I'm like I don't like you're struggling like in 1 hour I would fix your whole business and like
Yeah.
I don't especially want to do consults like especially because they're very cheap and like I can make more money doing just about anything else but like if people consult with me, then like they generally have like a huge breakthrough because they will say, Russell, I followed your advice. This is a famous one that I get told. I was like, I followed your advice. Why does this page not working? And I was like, don't ever say you follow my advice and that came out of it because that is none of my advice. Like, here's all of my advice and here's what's wrong with this page. And like those things like Monica said early on in her career, she realized she could just exchange money for access. And I was
Yeah.
like, you can, and this was a couple of years ago, it's like, you can exchange money for access. And
Yeah.
then I started doing it and I was like, oh my God, they just will like let you
They-
go to things if you just pay the amount of money to do it.
yeah. And it can accelerate you so much because like what you're saying is you're the guy who can walk in, push a button, be like, okay, that'll be $150. They're like, well, you just push one button. Yeah, but the knowledge of what button to push is worth it's worth
Right.
$10,000. But you know,
Right.
you're charging 150 and I'm definitely at the level where I'm like, do you know how to do it? Let me just pay you. I will pay you and I will make sure you're well paid because I
Right.
want to this to be a good experience so that if I need more help, you're not like, oh gosh, it's Lee
Right.
again. You're like, oh yeah, it was great working with Lee. And she really showed up. Also, because I'm so money motivated, I find when I pay people, I do the thing.
Right.
So for example, I lift weights now for my health, and it's had incredible dividends in every category. And someone said, well, how are you doing that? Well, I pay someone and I have
Right.
to show up. And then he makes sure I don't break myself, and I get healthier and stronger every single time. And it's a no-brainer because I am not going to waste that money. So if you know your thing, if money is what motivates you, like, use it to your advantage. And I'll throw that out
But
there.
you said something really important about the break. I want to stop because you said, like, make sure you don't break yourself. And to me, this is the thing, because you could have spent $100,000 on that book that did not work, and you would not have made $500,000 back on it. You may have made broken even or even doubled your money. I don't know. It's mafia romance. Lots of people want to read it. I'm sure that you could make some money back, but like, you would not have made 500 grand back from $100,000 investment.
No, that was a series of fortunate events. Stasia Black can write really well. She's gotten trad deals. And the reason we spent that much money was because we spent $10 a day on book one, and it made back more than $10 a day. And then we're like, well, what about 100? Well, what about 1,000? And then we're like, wow, book one is in the black, and book 2 and 3 are releasing, and that's pure profit. Okay, cool. Let's do this. And then my husband said, can you read more dark romance? I was like, yeah. And then I got depressed and I couldn't for a while. It's like, it's too dark. I tried to write a rom-com and it didn't actually go well. And then I realized, oh, I do need to write dark romance. And all this to say, you hired someone, it didn't work. You've hired other people, it did work. And a year from now, you're going to hire people better. And it'll be like, well, how do you know how to do that? Well, I pushed a lot of buttons and I figured out which one worked.
Yeah. And I will say, like, because I watched the ads go, and I was like, oh, that's interesting. That ad worked. That ad doesn't work. Like, I'm watching in the back end. I'm like, oh, that's how they're like choosing which ones to do and what to do. And I'm just like, I now feel confident that, like, I thought, for instance, that like I was spending $170 on a lead. And I was like, that's so much to spend on a lead. Like, I need to get it down to like $1. And then they do it and it's like $240 a lead. And I'm like, oh, like, I'm not and now this is go back to your mindset thing. My expectations were misaligned with reality. And so much of the work that I do at the author stack and I'm consulting with authors is like realigning people to be like, so I have a book coming out next year called How to Thrive as a Writer in a Capitalist Dystopia. And most of it is like, the things that you understand about capitalism are just wrong. Like, the way that you think, it's like capitalism works consistently, but not logically. And like, if you don't, and everyone who tries to make a business wants 1 + 1 to equal 2, and 1 + 2 equals potato. And like, you're just like, but it like always equals potato. And you're like, oh, I thought I was doing math, but I'm really doing, like, I don't know, some other trigonometry kind of thing. And once you know, you're like, oh, once your expectations align, like, I wasn't willing to pay $2.40 for a lead. So I was like, well, guess I'm not using Facebook ads yet. So I went back to use Sparkloop, which is like much cheaper a lead. And like, the leads are maybe not as engaged, but like, they're still good. They still read the stuff. Like, it takes them longer to warm up and like, you have to do more for them. But like, I have a process for all of those things. And so I went back and I was like, well, if I want 100 new subscribers, net new subscribers a day, like, I can spend X amount of money on it. And like, I think I can do it in this manner. Like, that's what I was comfortable spending for myself. And it's really hard to make those plays if, like, for instance, your book is broken or book 4 is broken. Your read through goes from like 90% to like 50% or something. And you're like, something broke. I don't know how to fix it. To go back and be like, Is it
Mhm.
fixed now though? Like there's a process you can go through. And like there are people who can read like my wife reads every one of my books. And I'm like, as long as you like it, my proofreader who I've been with forever likes it, and my editor likes it, and they think that it's right. If those three people can triangulate and say it's ready, then it's ready. And if it because they've now read almost 50 of my books, like and I know which ones have like worked. And I'm like, okay, well, like your taste was good this time, so your taste will be good this other time. And like to hire someone like I don't know if you've ever used the fairy plot mother, Becca,
I always use her.
but like just I spent an hour with like her and Inez and Sarah Cannon like after Nink. And it was like the most interesting, fun experience to like watch her brain and really all of their brains work.
So I had my highest income in 2022. And it was my goal. I wanted to make over 7 figures. I did. Yay. I was not in a good place mentally. I was putting so much pressure on myself because I thought that leveling up meant put more pressure on yourself, raise your standards, and that translated into exert more pressure into yourself. And I can apply this to different areas in my life pretty consistently, like writing or working out. I was putting so much onus on the individual. Maybe American society is so individual, like bootstraps, you, the marble man, it's just you alone. And whatever it was, I got to the point where I was very tired and sick and in pain and not wanting to write and forcing myself to write. And that led to some great burnout times, which is why I released 3 things last year and 2 of them were like really short, free things. And the other was co-written. And anyway, all this to say, I realized when I met Becca at My Fairy Plot Mother, it's leveling up is not about putting more pressure on myself. Leveling up is about getting more help.
Yeah. Absolutely. And to that point, I hear people talk about all of the time with Facebook ads. Now, this is going to be completely unrealistic for 99.9% of you out there, but like we together run in a very specific group of humans who are successful. So it probably will resonate with you. There is an amount of money that you spend on Amazon and Facebook that is the max amount of money that will convert. And like if you spend more than that, you can spend a double, triple, 10x that, and like it will deliver 0 results. And every person that I know who's really successful at some point tried to become more successful by just throwing more money into ads of Amazon or Facebook and BookBub, and they're just like eventually it's like they had to cut their ad spend by half, and they're like, I'm making the same amount of money I was making, which is great. I just doubled my profit, but like what do you do? Like, where do you go from there? And that's when and this was a big part of the stage 5, which is like expanding out to the ecosystems, because it's like, that's when you get a conference, and that's when you get like audiobooks, and that's when you have the infrastructure and the money and the revenue to be like, I can hire somebody to make to make my this. I can hire somebody to make my that. I can hire somebody to like, all they have to show up and make a podcast, and then we send it to Jim. Hi, Jim.
Hi,
And
Jim.
and like it goes up. And then like it comes back and we send it to a VA to like upload it to all of the places. And like that makes podcasting fun. Because I've been on the other side of podcasting where like for 200 episodes, I had to like level 8 and do everything myself. And like that is not fun. And yeah,
it's different if you got joy out of it and love out of it. But if it
Right.
doesn't, man, you just grind yourself down. And then the flywheel slows and it slows to a halt. But if you get more people pushing it, just 2 people pushing that flywheel pushes around so much faster, to the point where 10 years down the road, it's going way faster. It's going to take a while for my income to die out.
Right.
If I did nothing starting now, and actually someone said, well, why aren't you just retired? And the truth is, I do like goals. I do like working. My 6-year-old asked me to take the summer off, but she just wants me to sit with her and watch TV. So I was like, Mom likes to work. Mom needs a break from you, actually. But I do love my work. But I do think, I'm an owner operator. And if I needed to take some time off, things would grind to a halt. And I want it to be as high as possible so that the downtrend is, and the slowing of the flywheel is as long as possible. It's just, I'm making hay, guys, I guess. But it really was an epiphany to me to go, it really isn't about putting more pressure on yourself or finding more hours in your day. And I knew this because I thought to make 7 figures in a year, I needed a massive launch. I needed to write a rom-com, contemporary romance, something juicy, something trendy, which is not the way I write. It just isn't going to happen. And it was all false. I didn't need to do any of that. I just took all my books that I had written and the little ones that I had written in niches like sci-fi romance and paranormal romance, and I got them translated. Now I paid money for those translations, but I made it back. So then I paid out more money for more translations, and then I made it back, and then I did it again and again and again. And that's what moved it forward. That's what got me over 7 figures. And so if you're listening to this, you don't have to write one book and make all the money. Russell and I both do creative projects and make it happen. And now we're at a level where we did get the flywheel spinning fast enough that we have the extra cash and we're buying back time. I do want to talk about, because I just coached an author, and she was a little stuck where she had made big money. She had written to trend and done it really well. And now the trend is dying. Mm-hmm. And it turns out that maybe spotting the next trend wasn't in her wheelhouse. Like, she did it once. I don't know if she's going to do it again. So maybe she's not really a trend spotter. It just coincided. And trends will lift you magically,
And this is a very, very common thing for non-deserts to happen. Yeah. Like, whenever I talk to people who are like, I had a 2-year gap where I made 7 figures and I've never been able to do it again. I kind of don't know how I did it the first time. It's almost always because their taste happened to coincide with the market for a small amount of time. And I call this like the James Cameron. Like, James Cameron or Michael Bay, like, they just have mass market taste, man. Like, they just like can like, well, James Cameron's definitely like a desert, but like some people are just like, I like the Michael Bay is like, he makes the same movie every time, right? And it's like, just like, a lot of people like that movie, and like, that's okay. Like, that's cool for you, but like, a lot of people are like a one-hit wonder. They had The Thing and they were like, it was so successful, I don't know how to manipulate it again. And it's because like, they're not a desert and they're not a grassland. They're maybe a tundra. They're probably a forest. They might be an aquatic. They're very likely, I would assume, an aquatic, because a lot of things that happen with aquatics are they start a trend. And they're like, they made the trend happen. Like, they saw, because what aquatic does is they find inefficiencies in markets, and then they're like, what if I just made like a cat cozy mystery with like a witch from it, like, just like, and it was from the cat's perspective, or like whatever that thing is. And you're like, it's like, I see all of these issues that like I could fix at one time. And so they're like, whoop, bow, and then they make it and they're like, wow, people like it. And then they get buoyed because they were the first one, and everyone who ever reads that genre will read them because they are cited by every other person in that genre, and like, they just ride this wave. But then the crest happens and they're like, uh-oh, what's going on? And they like start panicking, looking for a trend, when really they should be trying to do what their strength is, which is like find another externality that like they can wrap all in another bow, because that is their strength.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't make this an author ecosystem, but
I know, it's just, I'm like, oh, I want to think about this and noodle on this. But I do want to talk about the advice I gave to this author, because there were a few systems that she could put in place to make it so that her flywheel was was moving a bit faster or a bit more padded. She didn't have something very simple you can do, which is not just say, hey, you want to hear more about Lee Savino books? Sign up to my newsletter. You can actually say, hey, here's a cookie to sign up to my newsletter. Here's a exclusive extra scene. Here's a novella that's not published anywhere else. Here's an alternate POV scene. Like the meet cute was all from her perspective, and I'm going to show you his perspective. 3,000 extra words, and I get all these newsletter subscribers because we're talking about 100 newsletter subscribers a day. And I'm like, how are you doing that? Oh, Facebook ads. Okay, well, I'm doing it right now, mostly from, you want to hear more about Lee Savino books? Sign up here. But if you do, I will give you a cookie, and I'll give you this free book, mostly. And I've done that since 2015. It's very simple. Once you format your books and you put it in there, you've set up the book funnel link. It's all, the systems are very easy. I didn't invent them. I didn't invent this concept, but I implemented it. Not even well, not even perfectly.
Right.
Every book one of my series should have a exclusive extra 3,000 word thing that is so juicy that all the readers want it. And I just capture, and every single book should have that, but they don't. But enough do that I get paid on the work that I did in 2015. Right. And I have not just readers who like paranormal romance or mafia romance. I have some readers who really love Lee Savino, and I have some readers who are like, yeah, I read one book and it was good, and I'll sign up. I have access to those readers, and it makes life so much easier. So the fact I don't launch big often, I am strategic about it. The mafia romance, big launch. Book one of a series, big launch. The Italian novellas, not big at all. Just translate those reader cookies, those readers freebies into Italian, set all the things up, and I get new Italian subscribers in my sleep. And when I have a new novella come out, my assistant does this. She's like, okay, cover, blurb, and whatever it means, novamente, whatever it is in Italian, like nuovo, like just a couple little phrases, and we use them over and over again, and I get sales that will help me pay off that translator. Now, this isn't going to get that new author. Actually, she's been in the business a couple of years. So, and we all have only been in the business a couple of years, to be honest. So for her, she really wants to like hit $100,000 a month. And I'm thinking that little implementation isn't going to do that, but it will allow her to have maybe 5,000 more a month, or maybe just $500 more launch after launch after launch after launch. And the good news is she was feeling healthy. She was writing. She is writing. She's not in writer's block or burnout. And I was like, you have no idea. If you aren't there, you're winning. Like, you might feel like your business is falling apart, but I think everybody feels like their business is falling apart, not doing as well. And it's cool. Like, you're breathing. So you're going to win another day. And if you put these little things in place, it isn't that you're going to make 6 figures next month. It's that you'll have some extra cash to play with, so that when a book does take off on TikTok or whatever, you have a little bit more cash to feed, to send out more paperbacks to influencers, to do ads, to translate it into a couple extra languages. And then you have a little bit more. And that's how you get to the 6-figure months. What do you think?
I think that's great. I would say that so if you're talking about like how to get more people, the thing that people should do is that, plus have an automation sequence that runs to a series page that like they can sell the entire series. Cause like that then could be a 6-figure, I mean, probably won't be a 6-figure month because like that's a lot of people have to come in. But like if you are running through a lot of readers and a lot of people are signing up and 1% of them pay $50 to like get the rest of your series, like it's a lot. It ends up being a lot. Like that's how I also run Book Funnel, like Story Origin, like whatever reader stuff that I'm doing. Like people go through that introduction to each person, to each series, and then
Yes.
if they buy, but if they sign up for like my novella, my like change novella, they get run through like 5 emails about like they have 4 days to like buy this thing at like 50% off. And that's the same series
Smart.
that we're going to be using to run ads for. That's the
Yeah.
same series. Like, so like just those two tweaks. So like now you're getting more subscribers. And like one of every 100 of those subscribers is like buying you direct. And after like 3 months, you have like 100, 10, 100, 1,000 people who've bought direct that like influence your custom audiences that you can use, and like your how you're, so like it gets better and better and better traction over time. And like then maybe you like then it just grows. That's, so there's another way if you don't want to do translations, and then you can do that for every language. So like now you have your sales page translated into Italian and French and German and Welsh and all of those things, and now you have 50
Yeah.
different ways to add.
I have to say, box sets, I have a random Publish Drive account that I put up 2 box sets, couple $100 a month. And I'm going, oh, right. I should definitely get more box sets up of all the series, all the box sets, and all the languages. Why not? And they're full price, by the way, guys, which means they're not on Amazon. They're everywhere else. And they're like whatever the individual books are added up. So if that's $39.99, then that's the box set price. So it's
Right.
not on Amazon. It's not capped at $9.99.
So on Amazon, you can charge 70% between not $2.99 and $9.99. Anything outside of that range, you only get 30%. So like that is why you are capped at like
Yes.
at that. So for those of you who might not know.
Yeah. So that's what I mean by not capped. And these box sets are only on every wide site that Publish Drive will push them to. There's only 2 of them. Dude, it made $500. Stop saying that's not enough, not a lot of money, and do more box sets. And so I just wrote that down. Do box sets. But this is the little stuff because, oh, I have an extra $500. Oh, I can hire Russell to consult with for my next Kickstarter page, or I can look into doing more translations. And it's the little gains. And I think that so many of us are like, well, how do I write a book and make $1 million? And looking back, that's just not how I built my career. I built it on the backs of 30,000 word erotic shifter novellas.
Right.
And it worked. It still worked. And I got to write what I like. And I didn't have to bust my butt trying to write to a trend or trying to write small town romance, which I would write it, guys, if I could. But you know what? It's just not happening. And that's okay. Somebody's going to be a werewolf. So I might as well just write the paranormal romance.
Well, I can't keep the town straight. That's my problem with small town stuff. Like it's really hard for me to keep like, where is everything in this town, and like referring to it. That's not me. My rule is if I leave a town, it blows up, and then I come back to it when it's different. Like that's my whole strategy for like world building.
Think about the world building. Everything
Yes.
implodes. Time is a flat circle,
Then
and
you never
everything is
have to deal
being
with
eaten by a giant monster immediately.
Yeah, I do want to say also that like people ask all of the time. So we've talked a lot about like leveling up and like making more money. But most people want to like be able to make whatever weird thing that they want to in their old weird heart. And like there's a couple ways that you can do that. And so I'll give you my 2 favorite strategies. One is it's a very forced strategy. It is what can I use that's on trend that won't break my story? That like, so for instance, if instead of having squirrel shifters, you can make them dragon or werewolf shifters, more people will read your book. Do they need to be squirrel shifters?
Apex predators, guys. Do the apex predators, and you do enough of those, and then you can do whatever you want. You can do the squirrel shifters, just 20 books in.
Right. And that's like my friend RJ did that. Like she has like squirrel shifter things and like all this stuff. And her series is very weird, but like it's still a paranormal shifter series. And like, so it's like, what can you do? Like, does the lead of your cozy mystery book have to be a psychic or can they be a witch? Because a witch is just going to get you. You could write the same exact book and just like,
Can
if
they
they
be a psychic witch? So just
right,
have the hat and
right,
all the witchy potions, but she also can read minds.
right. Does the familiar have to be a turtle? Can they be a cat or a dog? Because like there's more, and you'll find that like there are things that you're like, I can't compromise on this. Like this is integral to the story. But if you just like look at all of the trends and like you
Yeah.
can hit 6 of the 10, like
Yes.
it doesn't have to hit 10 of
Then
10.
do
That's a
that.
desert strategy. Like if you can, then you should. The
Yeah.
second one is actually easier. The bigger your audience is, the more weird stuff you can write for them, and they will buy it. It just is true. The bigger my email list got, the more fans that I had, the weirder stuff I could make. This book at the beginning of my career would have made $0.
Yeah.
Like I went to shows and the Gherkin Boy, the other book that I wrote, that I drew. Oh, is it in here somewhere?
I love that we get to see all these books.
So like the Gherkin Boy book that I drew, that I would bring to shows, like 1 of 10 people who bought would buy this book. But like over time, it sold like 1,000 copies of this book. Like again, like this is the art of this book. It outsold your book. Like if you're listening to this, I'm almost positive that this book outsold like probably your most popular book you've ever done. Like I sold this book, this awfully cute sketchbook. Look at the art in this book. It is not good. It sold so many copies because like I would bring it to shows, and along with Katrina Hates the Dead and Ichabod and all of my books that like were doing work for me, I just like had it. And
Yeah.
some people were like, no, I want that one. And some people I pick up and be like, are you sure you want this one? This book was $10. I had to pay what you want, and most people gave me $20 for this book.
It
Like
looks like VeggieTales meets Doctor Who or something.
meets very, very lewd things, kind of.
Oh, I would like that. As
Yes,
someone who was brought up on VeggieTales and is like, corrupt them.
yes, it's very much it's about a pickle that falls into a black hole, and you can make whatever inference you want about that, and has to get back across the universe. So like those are books. These all the books here. And I have a bunch more examples in the back that just like they never would have sold the level that they were at the beginning until my audience grew in a way that like, and so a lot of people that are like poo-poo audience building, poo-poo money, like I just want to make my weird books and get paid for it, like to make the weirdest thing possible. It's like you can do that when you make more money. Like that's the real secret. Like how can I release this stuff and then my God's Verse books and like the Obsidian Spindle books and the Cthulhu books? It's like I mostly want to write the weird books. Like they're the heart-centered books of my life. Like the book I just made, I think is like the best book I've ever written. But like no one is going to buy a satire, a metaphysical book about dying. Like,
great.
but like they will when you have trust and you get a small group of those people bought this book, as opposed to like who they mostly bought my other stuff too. But like those, like the secret to like selling your weird book is still a function of audience growth, just like making more money or like maximize, like whether you want to maximize your money or like nichify your money, like either way, like a function of audience will buy your thing. Like that's just the factual, like the facts of the case. And so like if you can say, what if though I did a cyberpunk, but the thing was a cybernetic cat and it was a revenge story about a cybernetic cat? Like, sure, like it didn't matter if the lead of this book that I have coming out later this year, like was like a pig or like a human or like a cat, but like a cat just is more popular. And like I ended up saying, No, making it a cat would be really interesting because it has all of these dynamics of like found family, like all of this like stuff that like is important to me. I could put into this more popular thing. And then some of those popular things, especially if you have like their email address, you can then make other weird things, maybe weirder and way weirder than you could if you just initially put them on the market yourself, because you
Yes.
now have these people who are like, that's weird, Russell. I like it and I'll support it, but like, that's a weird thing you did.
Yeah. And they're not going to come in necessarily through that. But if you give people opportunities to come in, and we're really just talking about newsletter building a lot, you're doing it with Facebook ads and, there's newsletter cookies. But getting people onto that email list to give them opportunities to see your weird. And then that's what I was trying to get this new author to do. Like, yeah, you wrote a trend, but you don't want the trend readers. You don't want to wait around for the trend readers to find you every single time. If they found you once, you want to give them opportunities to come and be your reader, or someone who wants to hear more from you. And just a couple of those extra every single thing you do every single day can lead to big results down the road. And
Awesome.
yeah, and then I think as a creator, I also think what you were saying, like, how do I get some of these tropes at least a little bit in to what I want to write? And I think my most successful series is the paranormal series I write with Renee Rose. And it's something I keep being able to write. And it is very mainstream. It's branded so mainstream, but I'm able to write it because I can put in mystery, suspense. I can have thriller sequences where there's a heist. They're jumping out of a helicopter, but they're dragon shifters, so they're fine. They can fly. And I can also put weird characters. There's definitely a skunk shifter in book 19. And I can put random little funny jokes, like weird jokes. And they all fit in. And I don't sell the book based on any of that. I sell it based on their fated mates and the tropes, basically. Right. Like my whole 7-figure course where I'm trying to be like, this is how you figure out what to write that the market will like. It's like, what do you like to read? What do you see? Readers, there are a lot of readers, the thing you like to read, find the thing you like to read that also there are other readers. And then try to figure out what are the tropes and then add your voice. And I guess I was able to do that with the Bad Boy Alpha series. Bad boy is a trope. Alpha is a trope. Fated mates, we got that. Those are the biggest paranormal tropes, and we hit them so hard. And then I can be weird.
Yes. I mean, I'm with you. Like I would say your A story should be like to trend, and then but your B, C, D, and E stories can do whatever. I think that's a great place to end. I love it, and hope you got something from it. Like, come to 6-Figure Author Experiment and come hang out with us there.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening. For more, head on over to 6figureauthorexperiment.com for archive access, resources, and more. We'll see you next time.